chain smoke, and I say fuck a lot. When I accept myself for the way I am, I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised. I just wanted to warn you guys about seasonal strokes, because apparently stroke season is coming up. I saw this on Twitter earlier. Apparently it came out 4 days ago, which would be around January 18, 2023 on CBC News. I'll leave a link, and I archived it.
So what is this link between influenza, infection, and stroke?
Yeah, I didn't know about this either until last year, but it turns out that after flu season, about 3 or 4 weeks later, there is a stroke season. And like you said, most of Canada is getting down off of a big hump of flu. So now we're starting to see more strokes. And a friend of one of my colleagues actually mentioned that at work the other day. Said, have you noticed how many strokes we're seeing? It's a lot more than usual, it feels like. So anecdotally, we're starting to see that. The good news is that getting your flu shot reduces your risk of stroke, according to a study from the University of Calgary right here back in November.
Tell us more about that study.
Yeah, so the researchers looked at health records of all Albertans, so about 4 million people over 10 flu seasons. And they found that for about 6 months after you get your flu shot, the risk of having a stroke is reduced by about 20% overall compared to if you didn't get a flu shot. And your risk goes down even if you don't have the sort of typical stroke risk factors like being over 50 or smoking, things like that. Even for younger folks, the risk is lower if you get a flu shot. And it's even lower if everybody gets their flu shots year after year after year, rather than just a single flu shot.
I'm hearing a theme here. We should get our flu shot. Let's back up for a second. Can you explain what a stroke is and how getting a flu shot would lower the risk of having one?
Yeah, so a stroke is when the blood supply to the brain is compromised for some reason. It's basically a plumbing problem in the pipes that supply blood to your brain. And there's two things that can go wrong with pipes, right? They can get blocked or they can burst. So either way, the blood can't get to where it needs to go. And if the blood supply isn't restored quite quickly, like within a few hours, then parts of the brain start to die. And the symptoms are a bit different depending on which parts of the brain are involved. So as for how a flu shot might lower your risk, we know that when your body fights a big infection like influenza, there's a sort of a system-wide inflammatory response. And that inflammation can cause problems with the pipes. It can make the inside of the pipes stickier. It can make your blood a little bit thicker, especially if you get dehydrated. And it can even put the heart into a weird rhythm called atrial fibrillation. All of those things can increase your risk of having a stroke. So by getting a flu shot and then avoiding having influenza, you basically avoid the risk of all that inflammation. And even if you get your flu shot and then catch influenza you still have way less inflammation because your immune system is already ready to fight. So that's sort of how the flu shot eventually lowers your risk of stroke is by either preventing the inflammation from the infection or decreasing it overall.
Man, this is some bullshit!
Fucking stoned.
I got motherfucking spaceship. Oh, fuck. Oh,